Hey guys, this is going to be a video about 3 things I did to grow my confidence in myself. And this is going to be relating to looks, relating to just confidence in yourself, and confidence to talking to girls and other things. But these are going to be, there are many ways to do it, but these are like the 3 ways that, that really stood out to me and did the most amount of impact. And, hopefully it can help you guys, and we'll just get straight into it. And one of the ways is going to be, and I got a paper here and make sure we got everything good to go, is going to be only comparing to your old self, not to anyone else, right? And we're going to take a good example of this. And let's just say Adam Yu, I believe is his name, super jacked, or Joseph is a good example. Love their physique. I really want their physique, but I won't be at that level for probably 2 to 3 years. And I think a lot of people forget that, and they kind of get really down on themselves, and they don't realize the progress they made to get to the point that they're at. Instead of comparing themselves now to, what Joseph or Adam Use at, they're not, they gotta realize, they're not looking back at, where they came from. Because guess what? Adam Yu and them, they've been working out potentially 3 times longer than you have, right? They're always gonna have a better result because of that, you know. And I think a lot of people realize they forget the background, the backstage of what things happen, right? It's like, I've been picking up basketball for a year now, and there's still a lot of, there's levels to this shit. And it's something I realize is like, man, I've only been playing consistently for a year. These guys have been playing for 10 years, 10 times longer than I have, even, obviously played. So it's like, that is something that I forget, you gotta realize and be like, stop comparing yourself to them, right? Also, if they're won the genetic lottery, you'll never be like them. That's the reality. And you have to accept the reality of you'll never be like them. But doesn't mean that shouldn't stop you from being better yourself. And what you should do is, what helped me a lot is, I look back at myself from a year ago, 6 months ago, 2 years ago, right? And I realized, like, wow, I've come so far. And that will create such, genuine confidence in yourself, because you're like, wow, look how far I came. Look at the actual progress I made, right? Because every human is going to be different, right? Everyone's going to look different. There's no duplicates, unless if you're twin, but even then they're different. So the first way, I really built my confidence in myself and anything I did, looks, basketball skills, is see how far I came. I'm like, man, I'm not that, I'm not where I want to be. I see all these guys, kids, having way more money than me, this and this. But then I look back at myself from a year ago, and I'm like, wow, like, look at me, like, I'm doing so well, and now I'm like, oh shit, like, wow, I'm not even at that place anymore, I'm doing good. And then from there, you build on that confidence, and this is gonna be ever growing confidence, because I'm still, obviously learning to, grow my confidence and, be more good about myself, and, think good about myself. But the second way is going to be money. Thinking about it, right? It's like, when you have money, when you know you can provide, when you can help people, when you can, have a girlfriend that you can go out anytime you want and stuff like that, that will give you so much confidence, right? Or knowing that you have more money than other people. I know it's not a good thing, but like, knowing that you're doing good, and knowing that you're not a bum, and you're doing good in life, like, that money will grow your confidence very well. Obviously, you don't want to overdo that. You don't want to be a rich asshole or anything like that. But what I mean is, like, knowing that you're doing very good for your age, or very good in life, to the point that you can provide, right? You can be the, provider, not a bum, living in a basement, not making any money, not having a job, just being on your ass, right? And that's another confidence thing I discovered was, making money, and not even a lot of money, just, just making money enough to provide and things like that, is like such a confidence booster. And, you don't want to be that guy sitting on the couch. And a lot of these are obvious, but I feel like it's one of those things you have to kind of say out loud to kind of realize and be like, oh yeah, huh? Like, money does, give you confidence. You don't want to take that and you don't want to you don't want to become evil with the money, but you want to be able to take the money you have and be the provider, be the big guy, right? The big daddy, you know what I'm saying? And that's another way I really built my confidence up, was through that, and knowing that I'm doing well for my age, and going and just keep on going, right? And I'll actually, by the way, I'll throw a bonus in the last part. No, there's gonna be a fourth one. The third and the most obvious way, I think, that really helped my confidence, was being fit. And I don't mean being crazy jacked or doing this, but when you're fat, and I was fat for a while, like, your energy levels are low, your testosterone's low, like, all these things are just, not going good. And obviously, when you don't look good, you also don't, you know, feel good about yourself, and you very look down on yourself. But I think, I'm not gonna go too much into obviously the looking good part, because that's pretty obvious to you guys. But I think the underrated thing is, when you feel good and your energy levels are up, you want to do all these things, you want to go these places, you want to go to the beach, you want to, like, now all this energy is going, and now testosterone's flowing, and you feel good. It's like that confidence, obviously looks wise, out of it. It's like when you feel good, you know you start applying to things, you start making hobbies, and you start feeling that confidence of going to approach girls. And that's one of the big ones, I noticed, was just the energy levels alone. Like, if you can raise your energy levels, I feel like your confidence goes up. And yeah, just being healthy, being fit, you don't have to be jacked, just be healthy, right? Eat good foods, 80% of the time. Doing all these things, it makes you feel good. And when you feel good, you want to put good into the world. And that's, I feel like, where the confidence thing comes from. This is the last one. This last, honorable mention here is going to be more for, as a guy approaching a girl, or, it could be a girl approaching a guy. But one thing I realized is, being realistic here, it's like, you got to realize that, like, a girl can think you're attractive, but right? She can think a colored blue is attractive. And I saw this as a TikTok comment, by the way. It was a goat-ass quote. But it's like, she can like the color blue, but her favorite color is the lightest shade of green, right? They're very different colors, right? So just because, or it was something along the lines of that. Everyone has their own preferences, right? So you gotta realize and kind of look down on yourself. It's like, there's girls that don't, think Marlon's attractive, right? Or wouldn't date someone like Marlon, or other people, Obviously the majority would, that's the difference there. But you have to realize, like, everyone has their preferences. And you kind of, I would say I'm an average looking guy. I wouldn't say I'm ugly, but I don't want to say I'm, like, amazing looking. And I would say I'm average. But what I realized is, like, I have to stop, you gotta stop letting girls, or if you're a girl, letting guys, like, ruin your confidence. Because guess what, right? They can be super attractive, let's just say super attractive German lady, right? But if I don't like German girls, she's objectively obviously attractive, but I don't like her, I don't think she's that attractive to me from my eyes, right? But that shouldn't stop her from not being confident, right? Just because I don't like her doesn't mean she's not attractive, especially to someone else. So don't try to take, girls or guys' opinions to heart, because guess what? Everyone has a different opinion. That's why there's arguments. That's why there's politics. That's why there's all these things. Everyone has a different opinion, different view of where they grew up from. Obviously be realistic. Some people won the technical genetic lottery, but just work on yourself. Just make sure you are the 100% of what you can give. And if a girl doesn't want that, that's fine. There's gonna be another girl out there. So those are the ways I grew my confidence. And I hope this video wasn't too boring, and I hope this yap was worth watching and understandable. But yeah, so that's I'm still building my confidence. Next level is walking up to girls. That probably won't happen for a while, but it's taking baby steps, right? Just take baby steps and get better every day, and you will be a way better person than you were before, and your confidence will be in another world, right? Just compare yourself to your old self, not to someone else.